Eudoxio, who you may recognize as a contributor to the overall HeroQuest community, and perhaps recognize as a Quest Jam participant, has finally released something I think you'll be very interested in. Before we go any further, I want to make absolutely clear that it's free and it needs to remain free. This is not for sale, it's not for resale, you can't go anywhere to buy it, but your link will be in the description below. At less than 500 megabytes clocking in, we have the Dungeons & Dragons HeroQuest expansion. Not just any Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons the cartoon, the expansion. I like how it's just called Dungeons & Dragons. This is very print-friendly, comes in the form of a PDF, and there are other files in the description below, which links to a mega drive. If this ever needs to change, hopefully the creator will keep us updated, and I'll update the link in the description below. Now you will note this is a print and play. No fancy physical version has been sent to me, nor have I made any attempt to print this off to show you a physical version. And this generally goes against my no print and play presentations, but this is something that I know has been worked on for a long time, and it's from a creator that I'm very familiar with. And I was privileged enough to see sneak peeks of this in the past, so I'm definitely going to overrule that general rule, which is still in effect for the most part. But we're going to check out this expansion. Every page of this lovingly made and crafted Dungeons & Dragons, the cartoon, quest book by Davy and Eudoxio, which requires the HeroQuest game system to play. We've got our alchemist shop. I don't think we have to linger on this page. But it's worth noting that you do get the invisibility potion, the potion of lesser healing, the potion of charge, and the defender's potion in between quests here. Dungeons and Dragons, the Tunnel of Terror. Will the heroes be able to return home when they make it back to the amusement park in the real world? This expansion does come with everything you see here in terms of digital files. We'll take a look at that stuff really shortly. We have our map icons for the new heroes or characters, monsters, as well as the room tiles and special tiles here. There's a note on Xandora's box. Xandora's closed box token moves adjacent to the hero carrying the box, who will move with 1 movement die. The box occupies 1 square, can be passed over for a cost of 2 movement squares, and does not impede line of sight. Any hero may move the box while it is closed. When the box is opened on a numbered square, it will connect to the room corresponding to that number as if it were a tunnel. Place the exit token on the square with that same number circled. We have the closed version, the open version, and the exit, as well as the old school versions of these icons, or rather, the ones that you will probably use no matter which version of the game you are playing. Finally, we have the wagon. When heroes search for treasure in a room with a wagon, they may randomly pick up a potion from the alchemist's shop. Use the wagon to replace any 2x3 furniture tile whenever you feel it's appropriate, fun, or necessary. And of course, you can design your own Dungeons & Dragons adventures. Simply photocopy or scan, print, and cut out the symbols above here and use them to design your own quests. Permission is granted to reproduce this document for personal use. The quest map symbols shown here are exactly the right size for you to design your own quest map using the blank map found at the end of the HeroQuest game system book. So we have special mechanics here, Dungeons & Dragons game mechanics. One that I particularly love and I'm very happy to read about is stealth. A hero who can enter stealth will do so only when there are no monsters in his line of sight. During his movement, the hero can move through monsters without being detected. If he attacks from stealth, he will add 1 extra combat die to his attack up to a maximum of 5. For each different monster passed through. Any main or extra action, door opened, or damage received will take the hero out of stealth. If a monster tries to occupy the space where a hero is in stealth, it will exchange spaces with it. And for the example here, Sheila is in stealth and rolls a 9 on a movement die. She moves through 2 goblins and 1 orc, so she starts here in the upper left corner, moves down twice, moves over to the right 3 times, down twice again, then attacks the orc with her dagger and with +3 to her attack strength for a total of 4 combat dice. When attacking the orc, Sheila will come out of stealth. Love the example here, love the explanation. Moving on. Charge. To make a charge, you must first make your movement and be positioned in a straight line at least 3 squares away from the monster you want to charge. When you charge, you make an attack with a strength of 3 combat dice. For each additional square of distance, add an extra combat die up to a maximum of 6 dice. When you charge, you can pass through allies, but the square adjacent to the monster you want to charge must be empty. Basically, you can charge and push past heroes, but not if the hero is standing right in front of the monster in your way. The charge movement distance does not count as part of the movement dice roll, but a hero who has made a charge cannot move afterwards. A hero who wants to charge using the potion of charge must have a shield equipped to make it. For example, Uni ends his movement in the square shown and is at the minimum distance from the goblin to make a charge. Right here. If he attacks the goblin, he will do so with 3 combat dice. If he attacks the orc, he will add +2 to his attack strength for the 2 extra squares of distance, and will attack him with 5 combat dice. Finally, Shadow Demon can only be on the board once as a wandering monster. If it's already on the board and another card is drawn or a wandering monster trap is stepped on, it will be transported to the new position. I like this detail very much. Depending on the quest, Shadow Demon will have a different number of body points when it appears as a wandering monster. I found you, typo. Shadow Demon. I really want to get to the quests, but I also want to read all of this, so before I read this, we'll take a quick break and we'll go look at some of the tiles. By the way, there are 7 files available in that mega link, and there are actually 2 versions of the quest book. You have the English version and the Spanish version. So if you want to play this in Spanish, it is completely accessible for you. The cards are also available in English as well as Spanish. Okay, we are looking at one of the PDFs included. They're all PDFs. These are the tiles. Just to break in here real quick, one of the best ways to support the channel is through the Patreon. Not for nothing. I've got all kinds of quests, I've got posts, I've got videos on the back end. There's even a year-long merch loyalty program. Subscribe and you'll get merch every 3 months. You can get this lovely Nilbog mini print, this AshQuest mini print, this amazing AshQuest mug, which has the AshQuest shield on one side and Nilbog in goblin mode on the other. And at the end of the year, a t-shirt commemorating your survival. Thank you for your consideration. Back to the video. We've got Hank, Sheila, Diana, Eric, Presto. I hope it's very obvious why you can't just sell this or sell copies of it. Bobby, Uni, Warduke, Terry, Strongheart, Kosar, Karox, Karina, Venger, Tiamat, Shadow, and the Dungeon Master, Merlin and Zandora. Those are the fronts, and these are the rears. And it looks like they are positioned such that if you print these using a duplex printer, they will come out perfectly cuttable on the paper on which they are printed. Anyway, those are our character tokens. We now have cards we can look at, including Karina, Karox, Kosar, and pretty much everybody in the gang. You will see that they all have set movements. It's not a 2 movement dice situation. And yes, this PDF also has the pages arranged such that the rears of the cards appropriately are on the backside and reversed, so that if you duplex print, these will come out just perfect. And if you don't have a built-in duplex on your printer, you can simply figure out which way you're supposed to put the paper back into the tray and then print the next page. So printing pages 1 at a time, you'll be able to print off where everything lines up where it's supposed to. 3 ability cards for Unico here: Heal, Teleport, and Charge. And then the backs of the HeroQuest cards, which specify that the characters we just looked at are allies, all 6 of them. And then the spell front card. Screenshots of the show. I can't imagine anything that would be more fitting, more perfect for this, so I'm very excited about the monsters. But we're actually going to hop right back into the quest book so I can tell you that this book is a fan adaptation of the TSR, Marvel, and Toei animated series Dungeons & Dragons for HeroQuest. The Dungeons & Dragons quests are generally played the same way as the quests in the HeroQuest game system. As in the game system, heroes will fully recover their strength, all body points and all mind points are restored between quests. This campaign is designed to play the quests in order, but there are some gameplay differences from Dungeons & Dragons. I would hope that there are a lot of gameplay differences from Dungeons & Dragons. The quests are divided into 3 parts. Quests 1 through 6 are personal hero quests. These are played by taking the hero protagonist of that quest along with Uni and 2 other heroes of the player's choice. These quests are intended to be played in order, but are also designed to be played in any other order of preference. Quests 7 to 10 are for 4 heroes to choose from the main 6 heroes and must be played in order. Finally, the Rescue Quest is a special quest to rescue heroes who have fallen in previous quests and can be played at any time necessary, although be careful. If you play it too early in the campaign, it can be more difficult. Oh, so that must mean that you can only play it 1 time. If at any time there are less than 4 heroes to play a quest, play the Rescue Quest first. If it has not been played before, play the Rescue Quest after playing Quest 9. In this case, if there are no captured heroes, 4 heroes will go in to rescue Strongheart. Now, if that doesn't make sense, I'm sure that it will, but I am inferring that we have more than 4 heroes here. We have the 6 main heroes, and if you lose some in some of the quests, the Rescue Quest is your opportunity to get them back, but you can only play this quest 1 time, if I'm correct here. And then you have built up your roster again, and you've got a little bit of leeway in case you need to lose heroes as you are continuing to play through the campaign. We have our regular points for starting and ending a quest, falling in combat. The Rescue Quest does serve to rescue fallen heroes. Heroes don't die when they lose all of their body points. Instead, Shadow Demon will appear and drag the hero into the shadows to take them to the prison of agony. And Uni cannot be captured, she just fades away until the next quest. That's a really cool detail. We also will be specifying that Zargon here is Venger for the sake of this expansion, and the heroes must play each round in this order, with the first being Bobby, second Diana, and so on respectively. After the heroes take their turn, Wenger then takes his turn. So it's not an issue of being able to decide per round who's going to go first, second, third, as in typical rules. But instead of playing in order of play this campaign, you can also use initiative cards. So I guess really you can homebrew it however you want. We have wandering monster traps, and all chests in this expansion pack are reinforced. The contents of the chest are not found until the first time a hero adjacent to that chest searches the room. Heroes who are not adjacent to the chest draw from the treasure deck instead. Each room may still only be searched one time per hero. That means it's possible for all heroes to search a room, and I'm glad that that's spelled out for this expansion specifically, and won't open the treasure chest. You have to be standing next to it. I like that, and I like the keyword reinforced. That's interesting. Here's our intro. A group of friends were spending all day at the amusement park. They rode a kind of roller coaster with mechanized monsters called Dungeons and Dragons. A portal opened, and the friends arrived in a fantastic world full of strange beings. There they met Uni, an orphaned unicorn baby, and the Dungeon Master, a mysterious character who gave them all powers. He turned Bobby into a barbarian and gave him the Thunder Club. He made Hank a ranger and gave him the Energy Bow. Diana's an acrobat, Presto is a wizard, Sheila's a rogue, Eric's a knight. It's like Presto's parents knew what his destiny was when he was a baby, and they named him accordingly. The friends want to return home to their families, but in this hellish world, the force of evil is hidden in the shadows. A sorcerer called Wenger, full of perversity, dangerous and fatal, will try to take the magical artifacts from the fiend's friends. They will have to fight against his evil, or he will destroy them. Will they succeed? Let the quest begin. Right back to the cards, we can take a look at some of the monsters before we end up seeing these on the quest maps, but they are going to actually be represented by the standard HeroQuest icons. We're doing a swap out. That's what we're doing here, folks. We're swapping monsters out. If you have miniatures of these types in any format or version, I would say bring them to the table, put them on the board, make sure you have an appropriate amount. We've got bullywugs standing in for goblins. As you can see, all of the stats are the same otherwise. Orc is standing in for orc, but it's a different orc. That's important. It is one of the pigmen orcs versus one of the Tolkien orcs. It's very, very different. Lizard Man is here, replacing the Famir or Abomination. And we have skeletons for skeletons, zombies for zombies, ghouls for mummies. A very welcome swap, in my opinion. The giant wasp for the gargoyle. I really dislike the wasp. Oh my god, it's hideous. The orc captain to replace the chaos or dread warriors, and the lizard captain who replaces the Famir. That's interesting. So scratch what I said earlier about this icon. The lizard man replaces the abomination. The lizard captain will replace the Famir. So it looks like this expansion is going to make use of both of these icons. And here are our monster card backs. We also have the troglodyte, the beholder, the bugbear, and the iron golem. They are utilizing the icons of the mercenaries or men-at-arms. The banshee, who is utilizing the dread wraith. I actually really like that choice. The specter for specter, and I think that this is hilarious. It is literally just a bed sheet with eyes, as in the cartoon. That's amazing. I love it. Nothing has changed about the stats otherwise, though. So if you don't have miniatures from Dungeons & Dragons of any type to represent the giant wolf or ogre or yeti, you can just use the giant wolf, ogre, and yeti that are with HeroQuest. No problem. Nobody should judge you. We also do have normal wolves, Kelek, Karina, Sirith, the Shadow Demon, who does have his own icon and should therefore be represented by something, some kind of proxy. The War Duke, Tiamat, who does have his own special dragon icon, and I actually really like that icon. Wenger and Nightmare. And be careful, Wenger and Nightmare have charge, although I don't see Tiamat with any special abilities. Now that's interesting also. Tiamat basically is just a big monster. Before we look at the equipment, we're going to go back to the map, a quest book that is, and check out the first map. Very simple. I really like that. This seems like a very good first quest. The map is very straightforward looking, although we do have Tiamat here in the first room. First quest note, A. B, we have a lot of X's. C, we have a row of pits. D looks empty after an empty hallway. And then we have a corridor. It looks like we will be able to push this block out of the way. And I hope that F explains that, but we're going to get into this very soon here. And is that Wenger at the end of the hallway? This is going to be such an event-filled quest. What do we have? We have just all on one page, That's clean, and that looks very accessible. Only these 6 quest notes. I really like that. So, at the beginning of each quest, there's a message from the Dungeon Master on parchment. This message should be read aloud to all players. However, the quest notes that follow are for Venger's eyes only. Quest 1 is the Night of No Tomorrow. You have awakened a very powerful enemy, Tiamat. If you want to return home, your first objective is to flee from her, since your weapons do not have the necessary power to defeat her yet. So, going back to the quest, this is for Presto, Uni, and 2 more heroes. The heroes will start on the squares marked with an X. Recall that this is one of the personal quests for the heroes. So you'll start them all on the X's here. That's really the start space. Now for A and B, Tiamat cannot be harmed in any way in this quest. The door that connects both rooms is open. When the heroes open C, that's when you will place the 5 pits. These traps are not hidden. On Tiamat's turn, she will try to attack any hero who has not reached past the pits. If all heroes have jumped or fallen into a pit, Tiamat will fall into the nearest one and become trapped. Here is quest note D for this next room after you have evaded the dragon. By the way, that's an awesome mechanic. It's an awesome multi-room mechanic that will allow for a lot of drama and roleplay, and it's simple enough that the heroes will be able to figure it out and have a lot of fun with it. They're right from the very beginning. So this earns high praise from me as somebody who has reviewed countless jam quests. The Dungeon Master is in quest note D's room. That is Tiamat, the Queen of Dragons. Even Venger is afraid of her. Don't you know who Venger is? Venger represents all the faces of evil. You will recognize his most recent identity by his white hair. Saying this, he disappears. Quest note E is the center room. So once we get here, we see our table with the book and our fireplace, which I think might have our attached moving block mechanic. That's going to be interesting to find out here. An old wizard with a hair in his arms stands here. I am Merlin. Centuries ago, I freed the Helix village from the yoke of the dragons with my magic. Continue your path and look for a chest. The answer to all your questions is found inside it. Merlin does not have white hair. He is bald and has a gray beard. Inside the chest is the blue mind ring, but when it is open, several dragons will fly out in the direction of Helix Village. The wall to the left of this hallway will move towards the arrow. There it is. Next to the wall on the right, Merlin appears and transforms into Venger. You have freed the dragons. Now I will finish you off and I will keep your magic weapons. When the heroes realize that the hair was white, it is too late. Venger cannot be harmed in any way in this quest. His strength is 3 combat dice. The only way they can survive is to reach C alive. If they do, Tiamat will emerge from the pit and Venger will flee in terror with Tiamat behind him. After this, Presto will go to the large tome in the central room and undo the spell, freeing the Helix village. Merlin will not be a hare anymore and the quest will end. You will recognize him by his white hair. That's awesome that the wizard is holding a white rabbit, and that's actually the hair. So very, very good play on words, very clever, and the flow of this quest now becomes very clear. We're going to start here in the northwest room, move over to the east, proceed south, going into room E. This is not actually the next part of the quest, it's the last part with the moving brick. So we move west, we go fight several goblin-coded enemies and a few orcs, before moving counterclockwise around the board, getting to F. The narrative here is actually really awesome, and the quest is short enough, simple enough, and has amazing mechanics. I have nothing but very high praise for this. All right, I want to spoil one more of the solo quest, and then we'll go look at the first group quest. I actually do want to look at the rescue quest as well. Before we do that, though, we're coming back to take a look at some of the equipment. We've got the Thunder Club, the Javelin Staff, the Griffin Shield, the Energy Bow, the Hat of Many Spells, the Invisibility Cloak, the Potion of Charge, the Potion of Lesser Healing, and the Defender's Potion, and the equipment backs, as well as the Invisibility Potion. Excuse me. We've got 8 initiative cards as well with their backs, and I think that that's really cool to have those included. We have the Red Heart Ring, the Blue Mind Ring, Strong Heart's Helmet, the War Duke's Helmet, Terry's Locket, the War Duke's Shield, the Golden Grim War, the Lightning Trident, the Golden Hammer, and these are all artifact cards. We've got the Starlight Stone. You can use Blessing, Summon Wolves, Chill, Ice Wall, Acid Breath, Channel Dread, Summon Specters, and Dreadlights, and these are in the game because of the Specters and the Dread Wraith. Basically, they're Dungeons & Dragons counterparts, the White Sheets and the Banshee, and they are, of course, the Dread spells. So if you already have those cards, then you don't have to worry about printing those off. We also have our heroes, Bobby, Diana, Eric, Hank, Presto, Sheila, Lolth. Now that's cool. Isn't Lolth the Spider Queen? She's in that? I didn't know that. Dekion. And of course they are monster cards, while the heroes have their own hero cards. They do, of course, have the 2 red movement dice. Sheila and Presto have basically very similar wizard stats, with one having the Hat of Many Spells, the other having the Invisibility Cloak. Then we have the adult forms of our D&D kids: Adult Bobby, Adult Diana, Adult Eric, Adult Hank, Adult Presto, Adult Sheila. Did she change in any way? She barely changed at all. I think they just added some extra detail to the face. That's fun. Adult Uni, Human Venger, and Lolth the Spider Queen. Wow, okay, hear me out. That does it for the cards, but I was interested in reading about the Hat of Many Spells. This is armor. Roll 1 combat die. With Skull, randomly draw a card from the armory that you can use at once or share until your next turn. With White Shield, randomly draw an elemental spell and use it. With Black Shield, randomly draw a dread spell that starts from your position and will be used by Venger. If a summon spell is drawn, the minimum number of monsters will be summoned. Can only be used by wizards. Okay. You can also immobilize monsters with the energy bow. I think that's really cool. I highly appreciate the screenshots from the cartoon being used for the graphics in the cards. I did say we were going to look at tiles, and it's important that you know that this actually comes with something a little bit extra, an entire Zargon's screen that you can print out and set up. Your own customized Dungeons & Dragons expansion screen for the Tunnel of Terror, a muro as it stands. We have also got our room tiles here, the Túnel de Terror Suelo. This actually comes with our rock wall passage, our damaged corridor that we can fall off of. We've got 4 ice tiles as well, Sombra de la Montaña del Terror. I can't wait for my editing software to try to figure out what I'm saying. And then I can't wait for the YouTube subtitles to absolutely butcher everything. Very cool, very, very cool, and pre-sized for your convenience. This is Quest 2, Day of the Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Master says, the Master's life is not easy. Eric said, I would do it better than you. And Dungeon Master says, I accept your offer. You will have to be Dungeon Master for a limited time. You will have to learn to control your powers and not use your abilities lightly. Remember that everything is in harmony. If you bring water here to quench your thirst, you may be turning fertile lands into deserts elsewhere. Remember, on this day, knowledge will be your shield. The Dungeon Master and Eric's shield disappear. Eric, you fool, you buffoon, you idiot. What have you done? Another simple layout quest. I kind of like that I recognize this. It's all in my head. It's probably not meant to be this way, but it kind of looks like a skull placed on its side, because you have the shape of the skull sort of with the jawbone here to the east, and then you have these eye cutouts, a bit of a caricature of a skull, yeah? That's what happens when you play classic Legend of Zelda and you're going through the dungeons and you see and remember that all the dungeon rooms look like the thing that the dungeon is named for. This is another personal quest. The heroes will start on the squares marked with an X. Eric will not have his Griffin shield, and he loses the attack action. In his place, he will have all the elemental spells. However, every time Eric uses a magic, a goblin will appear near him. You have to make it to room F, where you will find and hopefully defeat Venger on Nightmare, and then the quest will end. But not before finding a substitute for the shield. So again, I like the straightforwardness of this quest, and I just kind of like the idea that somebody is basically creating a narrative for one hero, but allowing the animal companion, basically the immortal animal, to accompany, as well as picking other heroes to make up a full party. But the focus is still on the narrative character, in this case Eric. There's a section of the quest book that was not outlined in any sort of index. We have the Dragon's Graveyard. We have riddles. So try not to pay too much attention to the screen, since I'll be looking at the riddles. I want to give you an example of one of the riddles, so I'll be giving you the question and then the answer. Although I don't speak, I launch my voice, and on my flight I show my skill. These will all be the main characters' things that they bring, their main weapons, their main arms, their iconic things that they have, their own weaponry. So this is a riddle for Hank, and the answer is the energy bow. Okay, this is Valley of the Unicorns, which is quest 7, and it is actually the first group quest. It's the first one that's not the personal quest for heroes. Again, we're not using every single room on the board, which is something I always appreciate. I really like when quests are kept tight and have brevity to them. There's not an insane amount of monsters giving you just slog fests in every room. I appreciate that very much as well. The quest notes look a little bit more involved, but that makes sense since this is more for a group of heroes and a party. This is a quest for 4 heroes of the player's choice. They'll start at the door marked with an arrow at the edge of the board. We have our wolves, and Uni has been captured by a pack of wolves. There is no time for lamentations. Without wasting another second, you follow the trail of the wolves. You fear for the life of the little unicorn. So you're starting at the door here in the southwest corridor. You have a lot of corridor to travel before reaching the first room, and then it's a pretty bog standard quest, opening doors, exploring, and fighting until you get to Quest Note B here, if you make it that far, and Quest Note C, which is very close by. You can also skip the northeast quadrant and go straight to the center room. The quests don't specify. You can find a shield, you can find 100 coins here, you can find 100 coins there. The evil sorcerer Ketlek is in room E and will eventually be finished off by his master if you manage to get him down to 0 body points. Uni is imprisoned in Quest Note F, which is right here past room E. You will have to go through this narrative obstacle before you can rescue the unicorn, make it to G and then H. G, the dungeon master will appear. There will be some lore, and then H, you arrive at a valley full of unicorns. It's time to say goodbye. This is her rightful place. Give the blessing of Uni to the heroes and the quest will end. Well, that's sad. The unicorn departs. The rescue quest is called Servant of Evil. Every fallen hero from previous adventures has been captured by Shadow Demon and taken to Venger's Prison of Agony, from which no one has ever been able to escape. This quest is to do what no one has ever done before, recover the equipment and escape up the stairs. The wandering monster in this quest is variable. Throw a combat die and it'll either be a goblin, an orc, or an abomination, except the D&D versions of those monsters. So rather than a rescue mission, this is actually the heroes that have been captured. You will have the opportunity to play them again, and they will start out here in room A. Obviously, the more heroes that have fallen in previous battles, the more heroes will be here, and this is one of the only quests where you can bring more than 4 heroes into play. That is to say, if more than 4 heroes have fallen in previous quests, which can happen. You can actually win a quest in HeroQuest normally with just 1 hero surviving. Perhaps all of the other ones were wiped out and it was just you and the gargoyle left, and the gargoyle had 1 body point left, and you, the lowly wizard, stepped in, cast your spell, or made 1 last attack with the single white die that you roll, and the gargoyle was unable to defend. This is usually the story whenever I play HeroQuest, but my story also continues with the barbarian dying to a goblin, so I don't want anybody to take that as a flex when it is in fact very balanced. Very, very balanced. Your heroes will escape by tussling with all of the D&D greenskins in this area, navigating to Quest Note C, where the first hero to search for treasure in this room will find the confiscated equipment. That's right, you've got to play with heroes that don't have their equipment. In addition to the hero's belongings, you will also find a golden hammer and Strongheart's helmet. And you will also have to fight Shadow Demon. There are specters in the middle of this room, so just like the sheets come off of the table, it's just 3 sheets. If you have miniatures that represent these things, I want to see them. I really, really want to see them on the board. Show me your miniatures that are just bed sheets. So with your screen, your gameplay tiles, cards, and quest book, you have a lovely, inviting, beginner-friendly, and totally self-contained HeroQuest expansion, which is very themed and extremely nostalgic. 10 out of 10, I have no notes, and I love the amount of time and care and love that was put into the making of this. Congratulations to Eudoxio and Air Davy on the release of this free quest pack. So at this point, you should be going and checking it out down below. I thank you very much for your kind attention, and I will see you in the next exciting adventure. Until then, brave heroes, onward for now.